You are listening to the Aging Starts Now podcast, where it's all about responding with confidence to the legal, financial, and personal challenges created by a disability, unexpected illness, or aging in general. Join us weekly as elder law attorneys Barbara McGinnis and Chris Johnson, along with other members of the Johnson McGinnis Elder Care Law and Estate Planning team, talk about the tools, techniques, strategies, and services that will make the elder care journey easier for everyone involved. Get ready, because aging starts now.
Welcome to Aging Starts Now, the podcast from Johnson McGinnis Elder Care Law and Estate Planning, where we explore the issues that matter most to older adults and the families who care about them. I'm Erin Keogh-Rankin, one of the Elder Care Coordinators with Johnson McGinnis, and today we're talking about something that does not always get enough attention when it comes to aging well: home maintenance and safety. For many older adults, remaining in their home is a top priority. But aging in place isn't just about staying where you're comfortable. It's about making sure the home remains safe, functional, and properly maintained over time. Small maintenance issues can quickly become safety hazards or expensive repairs if they're ignored. Joining me today is Mark Hill, President of Tandem Handyman Services. Today, we'll discuss common home safety risk, preventative maintenance, aging in place, and how families can reduce the stress of managing a parent's home, especially when they live far away. Mark, thank you for joining us today.
Oh, I'm so grateful to be on. Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you. Mark, tell us about Tandem Handyman Services. How did the company get started, and what is your mission?
Sure, thank you. So Tandem Handyman Services has been basically an evolution of us following kind of doors that the universe opened for us. Our parent company is Tandem Realty, which, contrary to our name, we do not do any sales. We only do property management and home maintenance. But we have to have a license to do the property management. So we basically have for 40 years or so been managing many thousands of properties, single family homes, all the way up to small apartment buildings. And over the course of time, us sharing our stories of, with friends and family about challenges we've had with our business, they would start to reach out to us around the maintenance issues. They were, just say, hey, I've got this problem. Who would you call for this? Or what would you do with that? And in a lot of those instances, we would say, well, I would call this company. And they'd say, well, we already called them, but they can't get there for another week or so. And I'd just say, well, let me make a phone call. And so we would call, and voila, they'd be out there the next day. And so it became one of those things where we started getting relied upon to help homeowners who are actually living in their homes manage their own home maintenance. And as it grew and we started having more people contact us and that we didn't even know, they just said, well, I heard from so-and-so who's your friend or family that you could maybe help me with this. As that grew, we said, well, we need to make this a service. So we made it a service. We called our home maintenance concierge service. And we basically were just a one-stop shop for anything you might need with your home.
I love it. So yeah. Would you say that with your home maintenance program, so to speak, is the goal more preventative maintenance rather than emergency repairs?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is the one thing, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure is 100% true in the home maintenance world. And that's, as we evolved, a lot of people, you would just say, well, have you done this regularly or have you done that regularly? And they'd say, no, we hadn't really been doing that. And we'd say, well, it'd be really good if you would do that regularly. And then they finally said, well, would you help us do this regularly? And we said, sure, why not? So it became now to where we do routine walkthroughs and we're trying to identify a lot of things that may become a problem and take care of them before they become a big issue. But even with routine walkthroughs and everything, you still have things that'll come up that are unexpected, and then we're available anytime, during those routine visits to take care of any issues that may come up. And
Yeah.
we have everything from, I always tell everybody, everything from a roof all the way down to your Amazon Alexa is not working the way you need to with your aging in place setup. We can handle anything in between. And I do say that if we don't have somebody to take care of it, we will take the time to find somebody and vet them and make sure they've got everything they're supposed to before they come out.
Yeah, I love that. Well, Mark, we here at Johnson McGinnis, we work with many families caring for aging parents. And from your experience, though I hear that you all, perform the routine walkthroughs and all, what are some of the biggest concerns that you hear from adult children about their parents' homes?
The biggest concern that we run into is that they'll just say, first, can the house be modified and can it be maintained for the highest level of safety and comfort without breaking the bank?
Right.
And that question can be very tricky because you're trying to, bring together the current and projected abilities of the person staying in the home on top of the current and projected condition of the home. There are some homes where we have said, look, you need to address much larger issues with the home beyond just doing grab bars, ramps, bathroom modifications or anything. You have bigger things, and it may not be a smart move to put a bunch of money into modifying a home if you need $30,000 in repairs over the next 3 years that are beyond whatever it is that they're going to need just to modify.
Can you give us an example as far as what that expensive repair would look like?
Sure. So a good example, we had a client about 6 weeks ago. She fell, broke her hip, wound up in the hospital, and her family reached out to us and said, we would like for you to come in and take a look at what needs to happen to make the home, safer and more livable for her. And she was living on her own. And I got to the house, and as soon as I got out, I looked at the house, and she's lived there for many, many, many years, 30 plus years. And I initially noticed that there were some exterior deferred maintenance that was significant. And then when I walked into the home, I noticed that there were some other things that pointed towards signs of other deferred maintenance issues. And so we spent some time looking at what could be done to make it safer for her to return home. But I recommended to the family, I said, let's have a home inspector come in and do a full inspection of the home before we start talking about specifics on aging in place or safety modifications. The inspector came back and found numerous issues with the roof. We had plumbing in the crawl space that was disconnected and leaking. And then there were entire circuits in the house that were not functioning.
Oh, my.
Yeah. And so these on their own, and the HVAC system was about 20 years old. And that's like a dinosaur in the world of HVAC. So we had at least $20,000 worth of things that need to be done just on the bones of the home, the main things, before we could really explore any type of modifications. And in that instance, it really helped them slow down and really take a look at the big picture.
Right.
And sometimes the house, it's better if they shifted they could age in place and age at home, but the home may have to be something smaller, something newer, where they are going to get the best bang for their buck. Yeah. And I'm also someone who's not this handle's loose, let's tear down the house and start over. I'm killing a fly with a cannonball is not my approach. Sometimes you have to really be smart about where the dollars are going to go, especially when they're limited.
Right. And I certainly respect that. I'm thinking as far as like, we in the senior industry and all, we acknowledge we want our seniors and to listen to our bodies, right? And don't take our bodies for granted. So I would think too, when we're looking at our home, we have to, it's not all what it appears on the outset. It's just like what you were alluding to earlier. A lot of it is we need to look behind the walls, but you just want to maintain your home and really treat it gingerly and lovingly and pay attention to those small things, because in our bodies, one ache can lead to something very chronic, right? If we don't listen to it. And so I would think that's the same with the home instead, for sure.
I have said many times that a nuance today will become a nuisance tomorrow.
I like that.
And that is because, the homes evolve, and just like the person does. And at some point, something that was just an easy nuance to work around does become that nuisance. And that the woman that we were with, she said, none of my outlets in my living room work. And she said, it's just been like that for years, and I've just found a way around it. And we kind of said, well, okay, in the new phase of your life, that may be a problem that we need to address now. And she said, okay, I understand.
Yeah, I love that. I'm so glad that you were able to spend that time with her and really truly be honest and forthright in what you were seeing. And equally important is that she was able to listen to you and she took your advice, right?
Yeah, and that's the dynamics. I will say that I've over the years had the benefit of understanding better family dynamics and communications and everything. And I feel a lot of times that I'm coming in and I'm also being sort of a family therapist where, I'm going, each person has a valid concern here, and I'm not going to negate either one of them. This is what my experience has been, and this is how I would proceed. And it does help dissolve or diffuse some of that tension between child and parent, or primary caregiver and the person who's staying in the home, because it removes some of that some of that baggage that you bring when you're dealing with family members.
Right.
So I'm sensitive to it, and I'm able to talk with them through it and do it in a non-shaming or non-judgmental way.
Sure. Yeah. In a very respectful way, for sure. Mark, as far as, earlier you had mentioned about breaking the bank. I mean, that's where the maintenance program comes into play, because you want to avoid those unnecessary costs and all. But let's talk about pricing. How does your pricing structure work?
So what we do is we will come out to the house and we will assess, and we'll say, okay, here are the modifications that you need to be made now. That is set aside. And we'll say, okay, assuming those modifications are done, here are all the things that need to be monitored beyond just the modifications. How many bells and whistles does your house have? How much time are we going to be out there? And then we'll say, okay, based on this, picture that we have, for us to come out a certain number of times a year, and we will fluctuate that because some homeowners are still pretty on top of it, and they may only need us there about once every 6 months. Our average is about once a quarter, but others it may be, hey, we need you there once a month, and because we've got some other things that need to be maintained or monitored. And so we'll look at all of that, and we'll break that down into, here's how much it would be on a monthly basis. And here's the number of times that we would come out, because we're trying to help with the budgeting that we know is so important when you're trying to age in place and work on a fixed budget. We want to avoid as many hiccups as possible.
Yeah.
And then we have some that are as little as $120 a month, and others that are as high as $200 a month. And the funny thing is that the bigger the home doesn't necessarily mean the more expensive. It
Really?
truly comes down to bells and whistles. So people with hot tubs, steam showers, pools, multiple things that you can have possibly go wrong and have to be checked will absorb more time a lot of times than just a room that is a little bit larger than another room.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, with that, do you provide the reports or updates to family members, especially those family members that live out of state
Mm-hmm.
and just want to ensure that mom and dad's home is safe and where it needs to be as far as status wise?
Yeah, what we like to do is just go through. We have a checklist of things that we'll go through, and then as we're going through the home, we'll write out, hey, here's different things that we're seeing. We'll also include pictures of the items on that report
Okay.
because it's, when you say, well, there's a spot on the ceiling. Well, is it a 2-inch spot or is it a 3-foot spot?
Mhm.
And the visual element of it really helps the person understand what we're dealing with. And then we'll also say in there, here's what the next steps ought to be on certain things. And then a lot of times when we're going through, it's amazing how much you can get done with just a screwdriver, a little easy drain tool, and some other things where, some handles on doors or hinges on, doorways or cabinets, just a quick 10-second adjustment, and then it's working great.
I love that.
Yeah. So and then also changing light bulbs. I mean, there's so many honey-do list things that are always, I'll do that later. I'll do that later. And then, having us there, we can say, all right, we'll change this light bulb for you. We'll take care of it. We also,
Right.
and to elaborate a little bit more, we have some clients that are physicians, and we have taken a page out of the physician's book where when we first get to the home, we'll sit down and we'll just ask a series of questions. And it'll be things like, have you noticed any changes in your utilities since we were last here? Anything different than above average or below average? Have you noticed that any humidity? Is it more humid in your home or is it less? And, things kind of like pertaining to the health of the home. Has anything changed? Have you
Mhm.
noticed anything? And it's funny how many times we'll sit there and they'll go, you know what? I completely forgot we had this happen, or
Mhm.
this has been a problem. And then once we're done with that, that's when we'll start the walkthrough, and we'll keep an eye out for those items they've let us know about, and then provide a report at the end.
I love that. Now, if a homeowner chooses not to enroll in the monthly maintenance program, can they just schedule a one-time home review or
Yeah,
project for you?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
We can pick up anywhere in the process. We have 4 different things we can do. And I always say you can get us for all 4, or you can just do as you need. The assessment, we can do an assessment, what our opinion is on the feasibility of the home and things that they're going to be up against. Um, Modifications, well, we really, really, really strongly encourage anybody that is doing modifications for aging in place, mobility, or cognitive, changes, that an occupational therapist or some healthcare professional is collaborated with on those. And then, we can just do the modifications. Uh,
Yeah.
if they want the monitoring, we can pick it up with monitoring after modifications are done. And the monitoring would be the routine walkthroughs and scheduling. Or if they just need us as needed for handyman services, we can also provide that
Yeah.
anytime.
Mark, I so appreciate the fact that you really are encouraging the client to collaborate, right, with their healthcare professional.
Absolutely.
And even us, we here at Johnson McGinnis as elder care coordinators, that's anything care related. I love that. And that is something that we welcome, that partnership. So thank
Well,
you for thinking
that
along
was,
those
I
lines.
have to say, in my training specifically to the aging in place, the occupational therapist that I was in the training sessions with, were so helpful in helping us understand that ADA and aging in place are two completely different things, and that
Yes.
unfortunately, yes, ADA levels are a bare minimum, but aging in place is specific to everybody's unique physical and cognitive abilities. And that really put it into my head of there has to be a healthcare professional. We cannot go at this with just my limited knowledge or a Google search. It
Right.
needs to be customized.
Well, right. And likewise, it helps us on our end to have great resources such as Tandem Handyman Services. It really does. It helps us help our clients and families. Hey, Mark, before we leave, I like to do the lightning round. Are you game for this?
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right. What is one thing every homeowner should check today?
Look under all of your sinks, remove all of the stuff that's cluttered underneath, and make sure you don't have any leaks. And then straddle your toilet and see if it is secure to the floor. And when I say secure, that it doesn't rock back and forth, because that will always lead to unforeseen subfloor damage and very expensive repairs later if you don't stay on top of it.
Sounds great. One more. What is one upgrade that provides the biggest safety benefit for the money?
We have seen the simple Amazon Alexa and their emergency services, one of the easiest, cheapest, and really tremendously game-changing things that you can do.
Love it. Mark, thank you for sharing your expertise and giving our listeners practical ways to think about maintaining a safe and comfortable home. One theme that stood out throughout our conversation is that home maintenance is not just about protecting a house. It really is about protecting the people who live within that home. Whether it's preventing falls, addressing small repairs before they become major expenses, or creating a safer environment for aging in place, taking action early can make a tremendous difference. As Mark reminded us today, the cost of neglecting home maintenance often goes far beyond dollars and cents. It can affect safety, independence, and quality of life. If you'd like to learn more about Tandem Handyman Services and their home maintenance program, visit their website or contact their team directly to learn about available services and home safety solutions. And if your family is facing questions about aging in place, caregiving, long-term care planning, or protecting a loved one's future, the team at Johnson McGinnis Elder Care Law and Estate Planning is here to help. Visit tnelderlaw.com or call our office to learn more about our elder care planning and support services. Thank you for listening to Aging Starts Now. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, share it with family and friends, and join us next time as we continue exploring the many aspects of aging well. Until next time, remember, aging starts now. Join us next week for another episode.
Thank you for listening to the Aging Starts Now podcast. For more information about today's show, visit tn-elderlaw.com, click on the Free Resources tab, and then click on Aging Starts Now. You'll find the show notes there. And while you're at it, why not check out all the free resources available at tn-elderlaw.com. Document downloads, the Johnson McGinnis blog, educational videos, informative articles, helpful links, a TV show, and more. It's all there, free for the taking. If you enjoy listening to the Aging Starts Now podcast, please subscribe, rate the show, or leave us a review. It's easy to do on whatever app you use to listen. We would love your feedback on the show. Aging Starts Now. We'll be back next week with more candid discussions about the challenges created by aging, disability, and unexpected illness.